Hi again everybody, it's Autumn with Southern Sky Beauty, and today we are going to be making some dual lye tallow shave soap. This recipe comes from Lovin soap. I will provide the recipe because you can find it online, so I will link all of that below. This is all of the ingredients that we're going to be using, so I want to just kind of go through and kind of explain what each is. The first ingredient we're going to be using is stearic acid, shea butter, coconut oil, tallow. Tallow comes from beef, but lard comes from pork, so we're going to be using this. You may not care for this recipe if you are vegan. So anyway, this is what we're going to use today, is lard instead of tallow. Castor oil, sodium lactate. We've got our two different kinds of lye, potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide. I will say, if you guys have never made either cold processed soap or hot processed soap, please, 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 I highly recommend looking at Soap Queen TV on YouTube. She has a wonderful 4-part video on how to make cold processed soap and lye safety and all of that good stuff. I started there myself, so it's a really good resource if you are wanting to start making soap. Definitely start there. I have made cold processed soap before, but I have never made hot processed soap, and that's what this recipe is. So I'm pretty nervous, but I kind of enjoy making these videos where I've never done it before and then sharing it with you. So if any mistakes are made or lessons to be learned, I can share them right then and there with you guys, and that's part of the learning process. So we're gonna do all of this together. So anyway, you have your two kinds of lye, distilled water, and glycerin. Now, the recipe also calls for lime, cypress, and patchouli essential oil, but I won't be using any of that today. I'm just going to use regular old fragrance oil and then just follow the usage rate per the manufacturer. So I'm going to get started on weighing all of this out and then get that going, and here we go. Okay, I have everything all weighed out. I'll go over one by one what each thing is going on in this bowl. I have 8 ounces of stearic acid, 4 ounces of shea butter, 8 ounces of coconut oil, 5 ounces of the lard, 4 ounces of castor oil. Now I'm going to bring this over to the crock pot and we're going to get that melted. It'll probably take quite a while because stearic acid has a really high melt point, so I'll be back. This is my sodium hydroxide, or excuse me, yes, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. 2.6 ounces of sodium hydroxide, 3.1 ounces of potassium hydroxide. This is all ready to go. I have weighed out my 25.8 ounces of distilled water, or it's 5 times the total amount of lye. I'm going to go outside and get this all mixed up. Oh, excuse me, I also put in the water the 2 ounces of sodium lactate. I'm going to go outside, mix this up. I don't want to do it inside. If you've ever worked with lye, when you add the water, this really nasty toxic fume comes off, and I don't want that in my house. But again, I recommend go watching Soap Queen's 4-part tutorial on soap making, and she will go over all the precautions and lye safety and safety equipment and pretty much everything you're going to need to know to start using lye. So I'm going to go outside, get this mixed up, and we're still waiting on the oils to melt in the crock pot, but once that's all ready, we'll combine the two and go from there. Alright guys, I'm back. As you can see, the oils and stearic acid have completely melted. But I just wanted to go over a couple little things you're going to need before you get started. I have my temperature gun, a couple spatulas, whisk, a spoon if there's any really heavy mixing, and I'm sure there will be, my stick blender, and I have a Pringles can that I'm going to use as a mold. I'm not going to line it, I'm just going to go ahead and just cut this when I'm ready to unmold the soap. But going back to the molds, you can use whatever you like. Silicone, PVC pipe, which I would line, Pringles can, put it right into the bowl that you want to keep your soap in, whatever you want to do. I have my lye water mixed over here. Again, it has the sodium lactate in it, the sodium hydroxide, and potassium hydroxide. This will go through several phases from what I understand. As soon as I pour the lye water into this, it's going to get all clumpy and gross. And she calls that the applesauce stage. And then I'm going to stick blend until it gets through a phase that she says resembles mashed potatoes. And then keep stick blending until it gets to a smooth consistency. And then let it cook for about an hour after reaching that point. So I'm going to be checking it every 15 minutes until an hour is achieved, and then it should be done. So wish me luck. Let's do this together. Okay, the last stage is the taffy stage, and I'm assuming this is that. You could see it got really thick really fast. I was not expecting that. Alright, let's put the lid on this and let it do its thing. Be back in about 15 minutes. Alright guys, it's been about 15 minutes, so let's take this off and see what we got. Hopefully I'll try not to steam you guys out. It looks okay. It's starting to get translucent on the edges, which she said would happen. Let me get a pot holder. Definitely taffy. Okay, don't want to mix it too much. Just let that sit for another 15 minutes. And then we'll come back again. Alright, we're back at the half-hour point. Let's give this a go. Again, try not to steam you guys out. Definitely very translucent on the edges here, as you can see, which is good. Very, very thick. Don't want to mix it too much. I've heard people say less mixing is better. So I may skip over the 45-minute mark and just let this cook for the rest of the half hour and then come back. And I deviated a little bit from the recipe again, and I will tell you guys what that is when we get there and my thought process behind it. So we'll let this keep going and hope to God we actually have shave soap. Alright, I let this cook all the way through. You can see it's very translucent. As we talked about earlier, I want to add the glycerin and the fragrance oil now, because I'm hoping that it will make the soap a little bit more manageable, because I do want to put it in this Pringles can. It will just take a little bit longer to cure, and I'm okay with that. I don't know. We'll give it a go and see what happens, but I always want to try and do things that make me stand out from any other shop out there who kind of does what I do, and I think I'm going to color this soap, add a little bit of mica to it. No purpose other than really just to make my soap different than, you know, anybody can make this recipe, but I want my stuff to be different. It won't color the bubbles, or at least I'm hoping it shouldn't color the bubbles. It's just really just to color the bar. So now we're gonna wait until this gets to a lower temperature before we add our fragrance oil. Otherwise it's just gonna burn off. Also, like to note that I did do the zap test. And if you don't know what that is you just take a little piece of soap, and obviously this is cooking, it's piping hot, so you're going to want to make sure that it's cool enough. But basically what you do is take a little piece and stick it on your tongue, and if it feels like a 9-volt battery, it needs to cook a little bit longer. I did test this a couple minutes before coming on, and it did zap a little bit, so I let it cook a little bit longer. Just did it again, and it was fine. No zap. So this is at 149, so that's a pretty decent temperature actually. So I have here my glycerin and my fragrance oil mixed with some mica. It's really pretty. It's probably going to turn more of a pastel blue once I add everything. And again, coloring the soap is not necessary. And I did end up lining my Pringles can. I really started questioning myself and just went ahead and lined it. I do that all the time. Like, I have this grandiose plan and then change right in the middle of everything. So I'm gonna add a little bit at a time. and really mix it in there, and hopefully we'll get a nice even consistency. Alrighty. Ooh, this smells good. This is much more manageable, and I think will really kind of mold nicely, I hope. It's probably going to end up being like mottled looking once I make the cut, but I'm okay with that. I think next time I do this, I'll probably add the mica to the oils before adding the lye. I think that will probably keep it, because you see how it's kind of like, you know, whatever that is. But let's go ahead and mold this into this can. That guy is completely full. And then I'm just gonna go fill my mugs, and yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I will do a demo probably in a part 2 video, so just keep an eye out, and thanks for watching.